Most people assume intelligence is about having the right answers, but the smartest minds on Earth are defined by something far more unsettling than that. Let's get straight to the point. Number 1, they are obsessed with being wrong. The average person protects their beliefs. The highly intelligent person hunts for holes in them. This is not a personality quirk. It is a documented cognitive pattern called actively open-minded thinking, studied extensively by psychologist Jonathan Barron at the University of Pennsylvania. Intelligent people treat their own conclusions as hypotheses, not facts. They actively seek disconfirming evidence before they commit to a position. But here is where it gets strange. This habit, this relentless self-interrogation, often makes highly intelligent people appear indecisive or uncertain to those around them. They pause where others rush. They say, "I might be wrong," where others say, "I'm sure." Society frequently mistakes intellectual humility for weakness. In reality, it is the core engine of accurate thinking. Number 2, they sit comfortably inside uncertainty. Psychologist Paul Sylvia at the University of North Carolina found that high-intelligence individuals score significantly higher on a trait called tolerance of ambiguity, the ability to hold open questions in mind without forcing a premature resolution. Where the average brain experiences uncertainty as discomfort and rushes toward closure, the highly intelligent brain treats ambiguity as information-rich territory worth exploring. Think about what this means practically. The moment you force a conclusion because the uncertainty is uncomfortable, you stop seeing what is actually there. Intelligent people delay that moment, sometimes indefinitely, because they understand that premature certainty is one of the most dangerous cognitive traps a human mind can fall into. However, this is not passivity. It is discipline. The ability to act while still holding questions open, moving forward without collapsing complexity into false simplicity, is one of the rarest cognitive skills a human being can develop. Number 3, they think in systems, not stories. The human brain is a narrative machine. It defaults to linear cause and effect explanations. This happened, so that happened. Intelligent people override this reflex. Research in cognitive science consistently shows that high-functioning thinkers naturally gravitate towards systems thinking, the ability to see feedback loops, second-order consequences, and non-linear dynamics that the story-based brain completely misses. A person with average reasoning sees a company fail and blames the CEO. A systems thinker sees a cascade: incentive structures, market pressures, decision latency, cultural feedback, and recognizes that single-cause explanations are almost always wrong. This is why intelligent people are often frustrating to argue with. They refuse to accept the simplified version of events. They keep pulling on threads that everyone else wants to leave alone. But here is the paradox, and it is a crucial one. Systems thinking, when taken too far without grounding, can produce paralysis. The same cognitive machinery that generates deep insight can generate endless loops of "but what about?" without ever arriving at actionable conclusions. The truly intelligent mind learns to oscillate, dive into complexity, surface into clarity, act, then dive again. Number 4, they monitor their own thinking in real time. This is the 3-minute mark in understanding how intelligent people operate, and it reveals something most people never consciously access. The cognitive process is called metacognition, and according to decades of research, including landmark studies by John Flavel at Stanford, it is one of the single strongest predictors of intellectual performance across almost every domain. Metacognition means thinking about your own thinking while you are doing it. It means noticing when your reasoning is driven by emotion versus evidence. It means catching the moment you start motivated reasoning, constructing logic backwards from a conclusion you already want. Most people have metacognitive ability in theory. Highly intelligent people have it running as a background process in practice. Here is the hidden cost. Constant self-monitoring is cognitively expensive. It creates what researchers call a dual process load. The brain is simultaneously reasoning and auditing its own reasoning. This is part of why deeply intelligent people report mental fatigue that others don't understand. They are running two cognitive systems at once, all the time, without any off switch. Number 5, they connect things that should not connect. Intelligence and creativity are not the same thing, but at high levels, they converge. Research by Sarnoff Mednick, who developed the Remote Associates Test at the University of Michigan, demonstrated that highly intelligent individuals have wider semantic networks, meaning their brains store more connections between concepts that appear completely unrelated on the surface. When an intelligent person encounters a new problem, they are not just searching their memory for similar problems. They're reaching across domains, pulling structural analogies from fields that have nothing to do with the problem at hand. This is why so many groundbreaking ideas in science, technology, and philosophy come from people who deliberately studied outside their specialty. The connection between unrelated fields is not a distraction, it is the mechanism. However, this cross-domain thinking also produces a social cost. When an intelligent person explains their reasoning, the path from A to B seems obvious to them, but incomprehensible to everyone else, because the connective tissue between the ideas lives inside their associative network, not in any shared reference. Intelligent people frequently under-explain, not because they are arrogant, but because they genuinely can't always see the gaps they are asking others to leap. Number 6, they have a complicated relationship with confidence. Here is the realization that changes how you see intelligence entirely. The Dunning-Kruger effect, published by David Dunning and Justin Kruger at Cornell in 1999, showed that low-competence individuals systematically overestimate their own ability, while high-competence individuals systematically underestimate theirs. This is not just a statistical quirk. It is a structural feature of how intelligence and self-assessment interact. The more you genuinely understand about any domain, the more clearly you perceive the boundaries of your knowledge, and the more those boundaries feel like a wall surrounding a small lit room in an infinite dark building. The brilliant scientist knows exactly how much she doesn't know. The person who has read 3 articles on the subject feels certain. This creates a social dynamic with profound consequences. Loud confidence reads as competence to most social observers. Calibrated uncertainty reads as doubt, which means that in almost every group setting, classrooms, boardrooms, social media, the person who actually knows the most is frequently out-signaled by the person who knows just enough to feel sure. Number 7, they ask the question underneath the question. The final and perhaps most defining cognitive habit of highly intelligent people is what psychologists and decision scientists call reframing. When presented with a problem, the average thinker begins solving it immediately. The highly intelligent thinker first interrogates whether the problem as stated is the real problem. This is documented in research on expert versus novice problem solving across chess, medicine, law, and engineering. Experts spend disproportionately more time in the problem representation phase, understanding what is actually being asked, before moving toward solutions. Novices jump to answers. Experts interrogate the question. This one habit applied consistently restructures everything. Because most of the problems that feel insoluble in human life, in relationships, in organizations, in science, are insoluble because they are the wrong problems. The right solution to the wrong problem is still a failure. Intelligent people know this at an instinctive level, and it makes them slow starters who become fast finishers. Here is the philosophical weight at the bottom of all of this. Intelligence, at its highest expression, is not a collection of facts or a processing speed. It is a set of uncomfortable habits, habits that isolate, exhaust, and frequently go unrewarded in a world that mistakes certainty for competence and speed for insight. The highly intelligent mind is not smarter because it knows more. It is smarter because it has learned, at significant personal cost, to tolerate more. more uncertainty, more complexity, more self-doubt than most people are willing to sit with. And the most unsettling part is this: these cognitive patterns can be cultivated. Metacognition can be trained. Tolerance for ambiguity can be expanded. Reframing can become habit. Which means the architecture of intelligent thinking is not a birthright. It is a discipline.
Which brings us back to where we started. Most people assume intelligence is about having the right answers. But now you know that the smartest minds on Earth are defined by something far more unsettling than that.